What's up, guys? It's Destiny. How do I want to start this one? Oh, here's my kitty Kian. You guys saw him before. Kind of chills over here. But Kian, I would like to make my video now. Can I move you, please? Come on. Go up there. Alright, so last time we touched on finding out I was diabetic and my mental health issues started to crash. So after that, I kind of just kept going on about life. 13, like I was homeschooled, and then when I turned 16, I was really into with my mom's prophetic conference kind of stuff, so I was always with her and planning for conferences and everything. And I just realized there's a plate of toast behind me, and that's not good. Okay. And I was really into that. And so at one conference in the summer, we had a tent meeting, and I helped out at it because my mom was in charge. So I was like, yeah, sure, I'll help out. And I met some people there. Let's call them Ruth and Paul, sure. So I met Ruth and Paul at this tent meeting, and yeah, they were siblings, and I started to be friends with them. So Ruth, she was young. She was like 4 years younger than me, but like she was like same mentality as me. So like we clicked really well, and she's the one that actually introduced me to alcohol. So I started drinking a lot, and yeah, so like her mom would buy us booze whenever we wanted. So like every time we hung out, we got drunk and did stupid shit. So like that went on for probably a year or two, where I was just drinking almost every day with Ruth. And yeah, it wasn't the best thing for me, because I was going through mental health crisis and trying to figure out who I was. And I just started drinking and partying and all that. But eventually I met another friend called Charlie. Call her Charlie. Oh shit, my brother's calling. Hold up. Right. I'll continue the story after. I have to go pick up my brother. I'm helping him out with his car today. So I am back. Alright, so we left off where I met Charlie. So I met Charlie at Wendy's after church one day, and we just clicked. We decided to start hanging out, and we became best friends, which made Ruth upset because I wasn't spending as much time with her, and she just did not like Charlie. So me and Ruth went separate ways. There weren't many hard feelings. It was kind of just like mutual, like we both agreed that, like, she lived in Carberry, right, and I live in Brandon, so it was like a half-hour drive just to hang out. Oh, here's my other cat. This is Kiwi. The baby girl. Okay, anyways, back to the story. So me and Charlie started hanging out. We became really good friends, and we just kind of became good friends, and we just hung out a lot. And then spring break 2017, our friend Ricky, we'll call her Ricky. Ricky, Kiwi, you're just staring in the camera. Wait for her to move. Keep going. Keep going. Sit down at least. Okay. So, so Ricky asked to come hang out with me and Charlie. And so she did. And me and her became best friends again. Me and Ricky had an on-off relationship all our life. Okay, Kiwi. So we started hanging out, the three of us, and so this next story is kind of what I said in the last video about when I ran away, and this time it stuck. Because I ran away a lot as a kid from 13 to 17 because I just didn't want, mental health, okay? I was into a lot of stuff with my mental health. Like, I was self-harming, and I was drinking, and I was just angry all the time. I was unmedicated. One day I had a really big fight with my parents, and I was like, I'm not staying here. Like, this family, I'm done. I'm out of here. So I actually packed a bag and I left home. And that was probably at like noon. Around noon I left home. And I hung out in my little fort in the forest near my parents' place for a couple hours until Ricky's boyfriend texted me and picked me up and drove me to Ricky's house because she was at work. So this was after work. I went to her place and her grandma let me in, and I went and sat in her room until she got home. And she got there and she's like, hey, what's happening? So I told her what happened and she's like, all right, I'm coming with you. I was like, no, you have a great home here. Like, stay here. You don't need to be a part of this. But she's like, no, I'm coming with you. So I was like, all right. So we packed a bag for her and we ran out the door with her older sister and grandma calling our names. And her boyfriend and my boyfriend at the time were in a truck waiting for us, and we drove off. We didn't know where we were going, but we just did not want to be at home anymore. So my boyfriend, we couldn't stay at his place, so we're like, hey, whatever. So we dropped him off, and then Ricky's boyfriend's like, hey, well, just come to my house, whatever. So we went to his place, and we found out that he was texting Ricky's sister to come and pick us up and take us home. So we pushed past this guy, and we're like, we were about to jump the balcony of like 3 stories. So we're like, did not want to. So we eventually got out of there and ran down back alleys, like blocks and blocks away from him and from everyone. And then finally it was like 1:30 a.m. and we're sitting on the curb beside a school. We're like, what the fuck are we supposed to do? It's cold out. So I texted my aunt and she's like, come over. I won't tell your mom. Like, just come stay the night, whatever. So we went there for the night. The next morning we went to, because my boyfriend I had at the time was at Crocus. So we're like, let's go see him. So we went to Crocus and waited till lunch hour for him to come out, and he came and hung out with us. And then I was like, you know what? I want to go home. I don't know if I want to stay out here. And so I actually met with one of my mom's friends who has mental health issues as well, and she actually helped me kind of understand, like, hey, there's a chemical imbalance in your brain. You need the meds. Yeah, you may not want to take them, but they will help you in the long run. So I was like, okay. So she talked to my mom about it, whatever. I went home. I don't know what happened to Ricky. I don't think she went home yet. She stayed out one more day, but I went home. And that night, this is where I do not understand, okay? After I just ran away, that night, my friend Olivia was like, hey, I'm at the mall, come meet my boyfriend. And I was like, sure, whatever. So I go, I'm like, Mom, can I go to the mall for a couple hours? And she's like, okay, but you gotta be back by 9. And I'm like, okay, whatever, that's a couple hours, I'm good. So I went to the mall and I met Olivia and her boyfriend Ronald. I don't know, Ronald, and me and him clicked or hit it off instantly, and we were texting, and then that night he's like, I went home. I got home on time, but I got home and he was still texting me saying that he wants to hang out and that he likes me and that he's done with Olivia and all this. And I was like, what? Right? So I was like, whatever. My parents aren't in Brandon tomorrow, so I'm okay. Let's hang out tomorrow. I won't have to do school because I was still homeschooled at the time. So then I went to my babysitting job in the morning, and he met me at the babysitting job afterwards at lunch, and I drove him out to his fort. And he sexually assaulted me. And I was out there all day long with him. And at like 5:36, all of a sudden, you hear Ricky's voice yelling, Ronald, where the fuck is Ronald, and all this. And she pops out and tries to attack Ronald and me. And I literally, like I grabbed her shirt. She was so skinny. So I grabbed the scruff of her neck. Like, you know how you grab a cat right here? Yeah, I grabbed that. And I, threw her. So that was our only first actual fight. That's our only fight in our entire life, is that moment. Because I was like, you're not touching this guy. Like, get out of here. So we got away. We got to my car with them running behind us. They parked their truck further away from my car. So we took off and they followed us. We had a fucking car chase around Brandon. They were following us, and I lost them. I'm proud of myself. I mean, I pulled into somebody's garage that was open, and they drove right by us. Anyways, we didn't want Ricky to know where Ronald lived, so I went and dropped Ronald off, and I went home. Can you see these? Yeah, that was my entire neck. I went home like that. And then Ricky burst through the door of my parents' house, and my mom was like, get out of here. You can't just open the door like that. You don't live here. You're a guest. You don't just open the door. You don't just walk in. And she was all mad and everything, and finally got her to go home. And my mom was like, what happened? I'm like, I don't even know. So yeah, that was the day we ran away. And I'll tell more stories about Ronald and Ricky. Like, they were in my life Ricky was and kind of is in my life still, but like Ronald I have nothing to do with anymore. But there's more stories to tell about him. But this is actually a long video already, so I'll probably cut it here. But next time, so I did diabetes, I did the night I ran away. Yeah, I think I'll touch a bit more on Ronald. I'm not gonna go into too much detail. Like, you know, I know this person like still, and he's him. I have no feelings towards him. We're cool. We're good. But yeah, I'll tell a couple more stories about Ronald in the next video. But yeah, so thanks for watching, guys. It was a long video, I know. They probably will all be super long, but that's because I'm telling my story, right? And that's 25 years of life that I have to input. But anyway, so that's all for today. Next week we'll touch more on Ronald, but hi, Kian. Right, Kiwi? She's like looking at me like this. I wanted to introduce Ben, but he's all like, Ben is home today, but he's in our room right now, so I will introduce him in another video, I guess. Yeah, I'll do it next video. I feel like I shouldn't introduce him till I get to the point of him, but he's my husband, so you'll probably see him in a background video or something. Now I'm rambling again, but yep, thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.